Hey guys, it's Fantasy King here, back again for the first episode of 2017. Now, I'm not going to show all my team here because I know there's probably going to be people out there that's going to rip off my entire team, and you know, I'm just going to be safe here this season because my fantasy team, I reckon it's hands down the best. But I'm going to show you players that are in a lot of other people's teams, and they have every reason to be in everyone's teams. We'll start off with Taylor Adams, and he will be one of the highest averaging defenders, if not the highest averaging defenders of 2017. He averaged 102.9 last year, but he did not play a lot of games. He had a lot of injuries and all that, but I think he's more fit than ever. I reckon he'll average more points than ever. Now we have Roy Laird, and he had a very good preseason. He didn't look too bad at all. He looked more fit than ever. I think he'll average 101 this season. He's a very consistent defender, especially in 2016. I mean, despite averaging 96.7, he didn't go below 70 a lot, and that's why a lot of people have selected him in their team, and I can't blame him because he's an absolute gun. Now we got my D5 and D6, which is Curtly Hampton and Andy Otten, which is a bit risky to have in D6. Start off with Hampton. He's in a lot of people's teams. He looked really good in the preseason. He'll roughly average about 70 to 75. He's very good for his value, and he'll probably be increasing his price by at least 150,000, which is really good. And then we have Andy Otten, who, is only at 150,000, and for a mature age player that's actually had experience, that's very cheap. He's been injured in the past few years, and that's why he's been on the sidelines, and that's why he hasn't been playing games, but I reckon he'll cement a spot on his side for 2017, and I think he'll roughly average about 55. We now have Mitchell Hibberd, and he didn't play a game last year despite a few coaches hyping him up, but I think it was kind of understandable that he didn't get a gig because North Melbourne were the most experienced side last year, and they didn't have room for him. But this season, they're the second youngest team in the competition now, so drastic changes in North Melbourne's side. I think he'll definitely get round one due to his solid preseason, and I think he'll average roughly about 50 to 55. Now, I'm not showing my captain until round one's completed, but I will show you my vice captain, and that is Tom Mitchell. I think because he's switching sides from Sydney to Hawthorn, I reckon he'll average even more. Hawthorn have lost Lewis and Mitchell, Sam Mitchell, so he fits his spot in the side. John Longmire, who was Tom Mitchell's previous club, Sydney, he didn't give him a lot of game time, and I reckon Alistair Clarkson sees the talent in Tom Mitchell, so he'll put Tom Mitchell on the field for a lot longer, which means he's only going to average more points. I reckon he'll average around 112 this season. Now we have Nathan Fyfe here, and he's the captain of the Fremantle Dockers now, and he's one of the Brownlow favourites. He averaged 98.6 last season. He only played 5 games before injuring himself, ruling him out for the rest of the year. I reckon he'll do a lot better in 2017. He had a very good preseason after his first game against West Coast, which the whole side was bad, really. I think he'll average 105 to 110 this season. He's a certain lock, considering he's less than 600 grand. Pretty straightforward here. I have Dane Beams and Jago O'Meara as my M6 and M7. Dane Beams, given captain of his side Brisbane, he'll average roughly around 105 to 110, and for that price, 519 grand, he is a guaranteed lock. He might be a bit injury prone, and if he does get injured, that's only unfortunate for us, but you gotta take risks. Likewise with Jago O'Meara, he hasn't played the past few years, but he is very, very cheap, and he'll average roughly around 90 to 95. Now on my midfield bench, I have Sam Powell-Pepper and Jake Barrett. We'll start off with Sam Powell-Pepper. He is a guaranteed lock. His form in the preseason has shown that he will start at round 1, and a lot of people have also thrown him into their team, and I cannot blame him. I reckon he'll average around 65 to 70 this season. He is a ball winner, and he might win the Rising Star nomination. As for Jake Barrett, he'll roughly average about 60 to 65. He was also a proven performer in the preseason, so yeah, I don't see why not put both of them in your team. My two rucks, pretty straightforward. I have Max Gawn and Toby Nankervis. Max Gawn roughly averaged the same as he did in 2016, but he is the #1 ruckman in AFL Fantasy and #1 ruckman in the competition. Toby Nankervis in his new side, with the yellow stripe, he'll definitely get round 1. He'll be their main ruck, because Richmond, they don't really have good rucks to use. I think he'll average roughly around 80 to 85. As for Gawney, I reckon he'll average around 105 to 110. Now we have Luke Dalhouse. He's in a lot of people's teams alongside of McRae, but surprisingly I actually do not have McRae. But Dalhouse, I think he'll average 105 this season. I reckon he will be the highest averaging scoring forward in AFL Fantasy. He's just a complete jet. He was instrumental to the Bulldogs premiership side, and I think he'll back that with an even better 2017. We'll finish off with Brett Eddy. I couldn't help it but field him after his 6 goals against Hawthorn. This wasn't against Brisbane, it was against Hawthorn. I think he's pretty much a lock when it comes to being in your 22. He might have a bit of inconsistency considering he's a key forward, but I think since he's a mature age recruit, I think he'll average roughly around 60 to 65 this season, and that's a pretty big call coming from me, but I reckon regardless, he'll get a lot of cash. And that does it. That gives you a preview of what my fantasy team will look like. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you want more videos like this in the future. Until then, I will see you later when round 1 is completed.